Hey guys, it's Cloud Connection. 2022 is finally here. It's a new year, and that means it's time for a yearly Cloud Connection update video. First of all, Cloud Connection face reveal, I guess. I've shown my face off a couple of times before on like Twitter and Discord, but never on this channel before, and I figured, well, you know, it's the end of the year update. Might as well show you now. But anyway, yeah, this is what I look like. Sorry if you're disappointed. But anyway, enough about me, let's talk about the channel. Let's talk about what's going to be happening in 2022. First things first though, I do want to reveal the winner of the viewer poll that I conducted to determine the first video game that I cover in 2022. And unsurprisingly, by a landslide, Kirby 64 The Crystal Shards is the game that I'm covering first next year. Or this year, I guess. It is still actually December 31st for me as I'm recording this, so it is not officially the new year yet, so whoops. Anyway, yes, the first video game that's getting a video in 2022 is Kirby 64. Thank you all so much for voting on that. This is the first time that I've had the viewers decide what I cover, and I might be doing more stuff like this in the future. You never know. So just keep an eye out on my YouTube community tab. I post updates on there semi-regularly. That's the best way to know what's kind of happening with the channel. And speaking of the channel, let's talk about the channel. That's a good transition. So I feel like I say this every year, but 2021 was an awesome year for Cloud Connection. The channel grew far beyond what I was expecting and hoping. I started the year with just under 2,000 subs, and my soft goal was, okay, let's see if we can hit 5K by the end of the year. And we're almost at, we're slowly approaching 9K subscribers. Which is not huge, I understand, but for me, for someone who does this not as a, full-time career, YouTube is not a job for me, although I kind of treat it like it is sometimes. Regardless, it is awesome seeing that amount of growth within just a small amount of time. It really is. And that, of course, is thanks to you guys. I mean, without your support, none of that would have happened, and I am eternally grateful for that. And it's interesting because a lot of the growth that happened this year came because the Donkey Kong 64 video hit the algorithm. It got a good push there. I'm sure a lot of you who are watching this now probably found me through that video, so if you did, thank you, welcome. But yeah, just from that algorithm push alone, we got, I think, up to 5,000 by May? April? I can't remember exactly when that happened, but earlier in the year. And from there, just been steadily getting close to, again, that 9,000 sub barrier. It's wild to me that 10,000 subscribers is just around the corner. It's honestly wild to me. I never would have imagined we'd hit that ever. And it's so crazy that it's happening this fast. So again, thank you all so much for subscribing, and for liking and commenting and sharing the video and all that. That stuff helps tremendously as well. Because, at the end of the day, the subscriber count is just really a number. It really comes down to, watching the videos, liking them, leaving comments, sharing them on social media, sharing them to your friends, your family, whoever is interested. That's really where the growth happens. So thank you all so much for doing that. And there were a lot of videos this year that I enjoyed making. The Paper Mario retrospective was a huge project, the biggest retrospective project I've done since the Half-Life series. So that was a big time investment this year, but one that I think was really worth it. I love how those videos turned out, and I'm really glad that you guys seem to be enjoying them too. I know Paper Mario fans can be very passionate about what they believe regarding the series, and I'll admit I was a little worried about that, but no, most of you guys came in with some great comments and insights on, your thoughts on the series, your thoughts on all the games, made me consider stuff I hadn't before, told me about stuff I didn't know. So it was really awesome seeing that over the course of the year. And it was just really cool looking at that series as it evolved over time. Like in 2020, my major focus was on individual games. I wasn't doing that many series that year, compared to 2019 where I did Banjo-Kazooie and Half-Life, and of course 2021 doing Paper Mario. And I am definitely going to continue to do year-long retrospective series. I think that's a great format. It keeps me from getting bored of talking about the same thing over and over again. It keeps you guys who don't care about the series that I'm covering from getting bored. And it's just a nice way to break up the content. Some of my other favorite videos from this year, the Conquer video was spectacular. I put a lot of love into that, and it was awesome seeing that get the response that it did. It was great sort of catching up with the banjo stuff with the ukulele video. That was a really good one. Papers, Please was very interesting too. It was a little bit different from what I'm used to, but you guys really seem to like that one too. That's one of my favorites from the year as well. And I really love the Luigi's Mansion video. It was nice to have just kind of a short, simple little video about a short, simple little video game. And I think it turned out very well. But, it wasn't just the videos that I was making that helped contribute to the channel. It was, doing other stuff in relation to the channel. I reopened my Patreon page, for example, after that lied dormant for a little while. I started that in 2020, but it really didn't gain any traction, so by the end of the year I just kind of stopped it. But I revived that again this year because I thought the time was appropriate to bring it back. The channel had grown to a point where, okay, now a Patreon makes sense. And that's been going fairly strong. Thank you to all of my patrons so far. If you want to join them, you only have to contribute $1 a month. Link is in the description. I also rejoined Twitter, which was an interesting experience. I had stepped away from Twitter except for official announcements like new video streams when I was doing those, because I was just really unhappy there. It was a cesspool, essentially. And it still is, but I am getting better at recognizing when it's time for me to step away from Twitter. So I'm back on there more often. You can follow me on Twitter right here if you haven't already. It's also a good place to hear about channel updates as well. And there were a lot of things in my personal life that also changed. I don't talk about that too much on this channel because I try to keep that separate. It is kind of a separate life of mine. But there was stuff this year that, did just kind of need to change. I actually lost quite a bit of weight this year, which is great. I've been struggling with overeating and obesity for nearly my entire life. And finally starting to get a handle on that has been incredible. I still have a long way to go, but getting that journey started has definitely not only, obviously physically, I look much better, I feel much better, but up here too, like mentally, it is amazing how much better I feel about myself now that I'm starting to lose all this weight. And I am still, a fat piece of shit. I'm gonna be real about that, but I'm getting comfortable enough to look at myself as who I want to be. Not just what I am right now, but who I want to be. I'm comfortable enough right now to record myself on camera. I never would have been able to do that when I started this channel. So that should tell you, the kind of confidence that I'm getting now, and that's awesome. But just some other changes and accomplishments this year from my personal life. I quit my job and started a new one at a different company. And my reason for leaving is simply because I was not happy there. I had been there for 3 years. There was really no room for advancement. The company was kind of going downhill and had been for a while. And I really couldn't see that there were enough steps being put in place to correct that. So I, jumped ship when I could. But the new job has been very good so far. The people there have been very friendly, and I'm still acclimatizing into the role. I've only been there for a few weeks. What's really nice is that the schedule is a little bit looser, which means that I have more time in the day to work on Cloud Connection, which is great, because I have a ton of stuff planned for 2022. Gonna have some hot chocolate before we continue. That's delicious. So a problem that I've noticed, or maybe not even a problem, but a limitation that I've noticed of doing these retrospectives is how formulaic the scripts have gotten. When I've done these retrospectives, I talk about everything that I want to with the game. But the problem is the way that the scripts are laid out, there's a fucking car behind me. What the hell was I talking about? I've already forgotten what I was just saying. Well, anyway, the gist of what I'm saying is that I'm getting a little burnt out on doing full-on retrospectives for each game, and I also want to diversify my content a bit. Because I don't think every game necessarily warrants a full-on retrospective treatment where I go deep on the development of it, talk about everything I can with the story, the gameplay, the aesthetics. There are some games that just kind of don't really fit that, and there are some games that fit it really, really well. And honestly, there are some games that I just want to cover not within the purview of a retrospective. And rather than trying to fit them into a retrospective format where it may not necessarily work, I've decided instead to do a couple of approaches to talking about video games in 2022 and beyond. It'll still be me talking about video games, but the format will be a little bit different depending on what I'm covering. Essentially, I just want to make sure that every game gets what I consider to be the proper treatment rather than trying to make it work for a retrospective format. And this will also allow me to make videos that are shorter, because one of the things with doing retrospectives is the videos and the scripts are long, and they are long by design. Again, these are supposed to be deep dives on games, so having them be as long as they are makes sense, but for what I want to do with 2022, it's just not possible for everything I cover to be a retrospective. Retrospectives will still be a thing on this channel, but I am saving those exclusively for the year-long projects from now on. So essentially there's going to be one retrospective series a year that covers a game series in full, from its beginning to its end at the time that I make the series. Now, as for the games franchise that is getting a retrospective series in 2021, well, you can kind of see it on my desktop there. We're tackling Mass Effect. So this is a series that I've been interested in doing since starting this channel in 2018. It's always been on my bucket list, essentially. And these are very big games, so covering them in full through a full retrospective series, looking at it from beginning to end, makes a lot of sense. So for this series, I am covering 4 games: Mass Effect, Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 3, and Andromeda. I know there are some Mass Effect mobile games out there, but I haven't played any of them. They're not getting full videos, so don't even ask. I doubt anyone is going to mind that, but, you know, if you really for some reason want a full video on Mass Effect Galaxy, then no, that's not happening. But yes, there will be 4 Mass Effect videos in 2022, and I know that Mass Effect 4 is on the way, but we don't know when it's coming out, and even if it does come out in 2022, which I somehow doubt it will, I'm not going to cover it until later. Now, as for the other types of content that I'm making, I am finally bringing back Cloud Connection reviews. I did a couple of these in 2020, and while I liked how they came out, I wasn't really sure how to fit them into where I wanted to take the channel. But now I'm going to be bringing them back because I want to focus on more shorter videos. So reviews will be for games like Kirby 64, actually. All the games on that viewer poll, actually, I think are going to get reviews. As I said, I am doing the other 2 games at some point. Sonic Adventure and Jet Set Radio will get videos, and I think they'll probably get reviews rather than retrospectives. I think I may do all 3 of the viewer poll games this year. Maybe Jet Set Radio will bleed into 2023. Who knows? That's kind of, haven't decided that yet. But I'd like the reviews to be a little more free-flowing and fun. Because for the retrospectives, my tone is very serious, very down-to-earth, informative, trying to be educational. And those are great, I think I do that very well, but I would like to have content where I'm more expressive, I think is the word I'm looking for. I'd like to do stuff where I can be a little more me. People who have interacted with me outside of just watching my retrospectives know that I'm a very fun-loving, casual, very chill sort of person, and I'd like to do content that reflects that more than just my serious, let's sit down and really analyze something side. I think there's room for both, and I think the retrospectives can handle what I've been doing, and the reviews can be a little lighter, essentially. It's still going to be the same production values that you expect, just the tone will be a little different. But getting back on the serious side of things, I also want to do analysis videos in 2022. These will be more video essay style content, where I'm not covering the entirety of a game, but I'm really just sort of analyzing its themes. Maybe I'm looking at its story and picking apart the characters or the storylines or the themes. Essentially smaller, more focused retrospectives, if that makes sense. And this will be for games like Majora's Mask, which I did mention in a YouTube post. I was planning to do a video for this in 2021, a retrospective actually, but I just was not enjoying how the script was coming together. And I figured it would be much better for me to analyze the themes of Majora's Mask. I'm gonna have some kind of specific angle in mind, but I don't want to reveal that just yet. But really look at it more from that perspective, rather than just trying to do everything at once with Majora's Mask. But as for some other games that are going to get an analysis this year, I'd love to do an analysis on Valhalla. That is a game that I love, and a game that, because of its nature, doesn't really lend itself to a retrospective analysis of all of the game's mechanics, essentially. More of a thematic game, a character-driven game, and I really want to dive into that. Celeste is another one that is going to get an analysis this year, probably around the middle of the year. I recorded that for a video in 2020 to do it in 2021, I think. but I ended up just putting it on the back burner because I couldn't really fit it into the schedule, because I knew it would be a big, long retrospective, and I just didn't have the time to work on that. But I'll have plenty of time to work on it as a shorter analysis video. Then of course there's also the Lupin stuff. I am finally getting back to Lupin. I say finally, but it's only been about a month since I last looked at Lupin. I am almost done with my rewatch of Part 2, as you Lupin fans know, and as I mentioned in the Strange Psychokinetic Strategy video, that part is long, 155 episodes, and I am nearly through them all. So that video will be coming out in January as well, don't worry about that. I would like to stay with a consistent schedule of 1, possibly 2 Lupin videos a month, which if I've blocked everything out correctly means that through 2022 we will be getting up to the movie Dead or Alive. So if you're curious about the Lupin timeline, that's sort of what we're going to be covering from now until then. Which I think is a good stretch. We'll be getting into the TV specials finally, getting some animated movies, which will be great. Of course, Cagliostro and Mystery of Mamo are on the docket, and those I am very excited to get to. And it'll be nice to also get through Part 3 of Lupin. That's the TV show that I am excited to revisit the most. I also do want to take this time to thank you guys for watching the Lupin videos up to this point. I honestly wasn't sure how well they were going to do, and they have performed not as well as the gaming content, I will admit. But it has been awesome seeing you guys come in and check that stuff out. Whether you don't know about Lupin, but you enjoy watching my stuff, so you watch that anyway. Or whether or not you found me through that Lupin stuff, because I've promoted that, I know, in the Lupin subreddit, so I know a couple of you came from there. Or maybe you were just a fan of my gaming content already, and also happen to like Lupin the Third. Whatever it is, thank you so much for watching those videos. It was really disheartening dealing with all the copyright stuff regarding that early last year, or late last year rather. Hold on, I need my medicine. And yeah, it was disheartening to deal with all of that, but I really want to move past that and keep making Lupin videos. If TMS's goal was for some reason to stop me from talking about Lupin, then they fucking failed. I honestly doubt that was their intention, but my point is, Lupin videos are coming back in January. And even beyond all of that, there are going to be a couple of miscellaneous videos this year as well. I've got a couple of other ideas in mind that don't really fit within either of those 4 categories, so there's going to be some interesting stuff. I'm actually working on one of those videos right now as we speak. You can see it on the screen there. It's actually finished now. I'm putting that out on January 5th, next Wednesday. So look forward to that. It's going to be a little different. It is on Super Mario 64, as you can probably tell. But it is not going to be a review nor a retrospective on it. It's going to be something entirely different. Here's a little sneak preview. For 7 days in a row, and that's all you get. Look forward to this video next week. So obviously that is a lot of stuff that I want to do in 2022, and it is going to be a ton of work, but I am really excited to get into it. I do have a goal for 2022 regarding this channel. I want to hit 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Because 10,000 subs is kind of a lock-in at this point. That's going to happen this year regardless. But 20,000 I think is a good goal for the year. And another goal that I want to do in 2022 is I want to upload 4 videos each month. And that's one of the reasons why I am stepping back a lot from retrospectives, is because I want to be able to do shorter, different, less effort isn't really the best way to put it, but less strenuous content, if that makes sense. Because unfortunately, the way the YouTube machine is, you really do have to be putting out content consistently in order to really get good growth. And unfortunately, while the retrospectives are awesome and I've enjoyed making them and you guys enjoy watching them, you wouldn't be here otherwise, I would hope, unless you just hate watch all of my retrospectives for some reason. If you do, by the way, then cheers to you. But as good as they are, it takes a while to make them and put them out. And having different videos in between them just makes it easier on me to keep consistent with the channel and help grow it while making sure I have enough time to really put my all into these retrospectives. And I don't mean to imply that the other videos aren't going to have as much effort put into them, because they certainly are. I just want to be able to make them quicker and easier. And I think I'll be able to do that. If I realize a few months in that this plan is not working out, then, I'll adjust it. Then, we can talk about that then if that happens. But for now, that's the game plan for 2022. It is going to be a ton of work. I mean, just hearing that outline, I'm sure you were like, wow, Claude's going to do a lot of stuff. And that's not even the half of it. There's stuff that I haven't even talked about yet that is on the docket for this year, and I really hope you're looking forward to what I've got cooking. I mean, another thing I want to do in 2022 is I want to collab with people. I got a bunch of content creator friends that I've made over the past few years, and I want to make videos with them. I've already laid the hooks, essentially, for some of these collaborations before, but really just sort of vague, I would like to do this messages. Very little in the way of solid plans yet, but that is something I would like to do. Excuse me. That is something I would like to do in 2022. And actually, like, these review and analysis formats I think will be perfect for that. They're shorter, so it doesn't require so much time commitment from me and whoever I'm doing these videos with. And again, it allows them to be a little more freeform, or more specific, whatever the guest wants. So more details on those will come as those collaborations start to happen, but it's something I really want to do next year. And really, there's also a bunch of stuff in 2022 that I want to do just for myself. Some of you might know this, but I am a writer. That's my job outside of YouTube. And while I do plenty of writing for both the business that I work at and for Cloud Connection, I have not done as much creative writing, which is really what I want to specialize in as a career for myself, as I would have liked in the past few years. I want to take the time in 2022 to dedicate more stuff to that. And that's stuff that, again, I need to have a good content plan in place so that I can allow myself time to do that and not get burnt out making videos all the time. And really just have more me time, more time with my friends and family. I know it's kind of not a great time at the moment to really be doing, like, public hangout stuff, but once that opens back up again, which I really hope will be this year, I'd love to do that stuff more often as well. Conventions, for example. I'd love to do some conventions this year. If we get a handle on Omicron, COVID, and, fucking figure that out finally. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. But above all else, I just want to have a good year in 2022 for myself and for the channel. I tapped my pop filter. I hope that it wasn't too annoying. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap this update video up now. I've already been rambling for an hour and 8 minutes according to my camera. The video obviously won't be that long, but anyway, I've been talking for a while and I'm almost out of hot chocolate. So I'll just wrap this video up by saying thank you all so much for watching. There's going to be tons of stuff next year. I hope you're looking forward to all of it. Again, you can follow me on Twitter to get the latest updates on Cloud Connection videos and just sort of hear me ramble and rant about things and make a bunch of jokes. If you want to support me on Patreon, you can click here or follow the link in the description. The Twitter will be in there as well. I hope you guys all had a great New Year's, and here's to 2022. Have a good night, everybody. That was tasty.